Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good day. Today we are from Group FYP KA54. We'd like to present our final year project, which is the case study assessing the visual defects on old limestone building in Malacca. Okay, now we move on to the group member. So the group member is start from Indra Putra Faizal bin Azmi, and then so Muhammad Haikal bin Onan, and then me, Muhammad Faris Hafizuddin bin Rusli. Now we move on to the abstract of this final year project. Okay, limestone is an ancient and widely used building material which archaeological findings have found proof of lime usage as a building material as early as in 6000 BC. The history of limestone goes back a long way, as it is also a key component in many important historic buildings, such as the Great Pyramid of Giza, built predominantly with a massive limestone bricks. The fact that it has been used in buildings that has withstood the test of time is a testament to its durability and ability to withstand punishments from nature. However, there are still a need to revise limestone standing in the modern world as a building material. As such, this study will explore about limestone and how old limestone buildings fare in Malaysia's climate, more specifically in Malacca, and to explore the diverse depth of techniques and recent findings on this issue to further our understanding. And now we move on to our introduction. We believe that there is a lack of in-depth study about the condition of buildings built using limestone in Malacca. So, there are without a proper analysis and inspection, all limestone buildings might be a safety risk or might simply fall out of favor against the modern world. Therefore, a case study is necessary to clarify the criteria for choosing limestone as a building material to make the best use of a new limestone. In addition, it is also to find the to the most ideal way to conserve and maintain old limestone buildings, ensuring that they will not be a liability and a damage risk upon the economic sector and urban planning sector of the city. This case study revolves around the buildings in Malacca during fieldwork, which also involve concrete buildings and limestone buildings. So, Malacca is known to have many old buildings and is believed to have limestone as one of their main compositions in building infrastructures. The aim of this study is to investigate characteristics of limestone in buildings, finding visual defects in the old buildings, and comparing the visual defects between both limestone and concrete buildings. The case study optimizes literature review to the utmost and depends on new methods developed, in which is checklist to obtain and review both different data in building construction. And now we move on to the objective of our study. So there are three objectives. First is to investigate the character of the limestone in building construction. Two is to find visual defects in all limestone buildings in Malacca. And three, to compare visual defect between limestone and concrete building.
Okay, so now let's move on to the methodologies. So we choose to do our case study in Malacca, and we choose three buildings for visual evaluation, which is the museum yang di Betul Malacca, the Church of St. Paul's in Malacca, and the Museum Stem Malacca. And then to compare the results, we choose three buildings from University Terusan Malaysia, Pago Branch, to do our comparison, which is the A9 block, the hall, the surau, and the residential block A6. Uh, and then we collect our data by taking photograph of the site, and then we collect the data, which in this case is defects from the corresponding pictures. The defects were then visually identified and recorded in a separate prepared checklist. And the defects from the limestone building was assessed virtually because we procured the pictures from a third-party source, which is from our supervisor, and the defects from the concrete buildings were assessed in real time, and then photographed for future references. So as we can see here, we have two pictures, and in the top left is a picture of Museum yang di Petua Melaka, which we procured from our supervisor, and in the bottom right, we have a picture of me taking a picture of a defect at the surau in KKP Pago. And now let's move on to the results and discussions. And here we have a table of numbers of defects uh, in the locations that we chosen, which is the museum yang di Betul Malacca, the St. Paul's Church, and the Malacca State Museum. And as you can see, we can identify that the Malacca State Museum has the most number of defects from the three locations that we have chosen. And this is a table of the elements that has the most defects from the three locations. So as we can see, in all three locations, the element that has the most defects is the slab of the building.
So next, we can see this table represents the number of defects identified on the site location corresponding to its type, in which is the concrete building. So you can see the site location we choose is block A6 College Kediaman Campus Pago. The one is Milan and Surau College Kediaman Campus Pago. So type of defects is really similar since we want to determine and we want to compare using the similar characteristic. Next is the elements we inspected on the subject structure, in which is the concrete building itself. So we inspect on beam, slab and column, same as limestone building since we want to do the comparison. Last but not least, we move to the conclusions. So in conclusion, in order to preserve all buildings, the background knowledge of the target building is very important. So the surveyor must know the details such as the date of structure was built and the material used to build the structure. The knowledge and ability to identify the defects in buildings and many more. The other conclusion that can be drawn from this research is that the limestone is not a superior building material than concrete because concrete can be easier to maintain and more cost efficient. The fault did not lie upon limestone as a building material, but only because of the technological advancement humans made that a better replacement for building construction material has been found.
In future studies, it is recommended that to make a fairer comparison, the limestone building and the concrete building should be in approximately the same age, so that factors such as structure age, restoration done on it, and other factors can be deducted from consideration. And next, the surveyor should be equipped with better equipment such as drones with higher resolution cameras and software that can analyze raw data just by keying it in. And finally, the case study would like to suggest site visits in person to gather raw data and to ensure that the obtained data is detailed and more precise and cannot be manipulated according to the methodology suggested. So that's all from our group KA54. Thank you.